Hey guys, welcome to the next healthy living video, and I think I'm going to cross-reference this one also with my guy stuff because we're going to be doing stuff on the smoker. So even though it's a healthy recipe, it's still going to be really awesome. What I'm going to do is a really healthy chicken noodle soup, and we're going to be doing it with a lot of chunky vegetables because that's what I love in my soups. I'm also adding mushrooms. These are completely optional, of course. If you want the traditional chicken mushroom soup, just omit the mushrooms. Not a big deal there. Very easy to make. It does involve quite a bit of prep and quite a long cooking time because I'm going to be smoking the chicken. Now, if you don't have a smoker or if you don't want to, you can of course prep the chicken, cook the chicken any way you like. But by smoking it, we're really going to bring in some awesome layers of flavor that really make the soup something special. Smoked chicken is very special, way more flavorful than even grilling or frying or baking or anything like that. So I'll take you through how I do that. But to make it really easy, I've got two big, and this is again going to make a big pot like I do. Of course, chop this in half if you're just cooking for a normal big family meal. I've got two big bags of carrots, which we're going to chop up fairly large, probably quarter-inch chunks. And for some reason the store was like almost out of carrots. These are the biggest ones they had. I usually like to get the ones that are a good inch in diameter, but I mean it was slim pickings. I really don't like buying fresh food at Walmart. They have a horrible selection. But again, they're the only place that carries some of this other stuff that I like, so don't really have a choice. I've got two white onions. We're just going to finely chop that up. One whole package of celery. Again, fairly large chunks like the carrots. And the mushrooms I buy pre-washed, pre-sliced. So much easier. It's just about the same price. They usually have a bigger package. I was just going to get two of those, but they were out. Again, very slim pickings. We've got 4 cans of the fat-free, low-sodium chicken broth. You can find that at any store. Great stuff there. I really don't notice the flavor difference at all. I have 2 packages of the egg-free pasta ribbons, and they really taste about the same. Difference is the egg-free have half the carbohydrates of the egg noodles, so that saves you a lot right there. The chicken is what's really special. This is a pack that I only find at Walmart. It's 10 pounds of rough cut quarters for $7.60 some odd cents. I mean, just an absolute phenomenal deal. You can't touch it with any of the other chicken selections. If you have a Sam's or Costco membership, you can also get bulk stuff like this, but you can find this at just about any Walmart, I would imagine, that sells groceries. And the trick is, I mean, it's perfectly good meat. Absolutely beautiful. I've been cooking with it and smoking it for years. The trick is, you have to do all the work yourself. So it's a lot of cleaning, a lot of trimming. They are rough cut quarters. They got the drumstick and the thigh and everything there. So you have to separate if you want to separate, clean up the rough cuts of fat and whatnot, and give it a good wash. But it's so cheap. And I'm throwing this whole bag is so big that it barely fits on my smoker. So that's perfect. And I'm probably not going to be using all of it for the soup, so I'll have some left over. I can do some sandwiches or something. It's a 10-pound bag. You get about half of that in meat by the end. We're not going to be using the skin and the fat in the soup. We're going to smoke it with everything intact, and I'm going to put together a simple rub for it. And then that gets peeled off and just the meat added to the soup. So we'll end up with about 5 pounds of soup for the 2 gallons of the pot. So we'll see how it works out. Real simple seasoning in the soup itself. Salt, pepper, and dill. I love dill. I'm going to use this whole little container worth for the 2 gallons. And then this simple Italian seasoning rub is what I'm going to treat the chicken with. If I was doing this chicken as the meal itself, it wasn't going in a soup, I would be adding a little bit of salt and pepper to the chicken. But since it's going in the soup, I'm not going to add anything. So that again makes it a little bit healthier. And this rub you can find, I'm sure, various brands, but this is really simple. It just has thyme, oregano, and basil. So it's all pre-mixed in there. You just don't have to mess with the separate cans, and $4 or $5 you got enough for a whole bunch of stuff. So that's it. First thing I have to do is get prepping. I need to chop the carrots, the celery, and the onions, and then dress the chicken, and then we'll go out to the smoker. Here I've got the veggies all prepped. Carrots, you can see, are in nice bite-sized chunks. Nothing unusual there. just a fine chop on the onion and the celery. Now let's go ahead and do the chicken. Now be careful when you're working with any raw meat, especially chicken, especially this relatively unbutchered stuff. I spent 5 minutes and washed it all off really well. Let me sneak under the camera here. Now what we want to do to this, we're going to leave on most of the skin because we want this flap. This is where we're going to stuff in all of our seasonings. But we're not going to cook with this. This will come off after it's done. What we need to do is get off all the excess fat, any extra cartilage pieces, the stuff we're not going to be eating. Just chop it off like all this stuff here. But leave on the actual skin flap. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. Now that the chicken is washed and trimmed, we can go ahead and apply our rub. What I'm going to do is dump out a good section of it here into a pan, and then I can just stack it in this pan as I get them done. Take them out to the grill. You don't have to go crazy. About a teaspoon per chicken quarter is all we're going to need. We're just going to rub it all over the meat and inside that little flap. So there we go. Chicken is ready. Now let's head on out to the smoker and get it cooking. Alright, if you've seen enough of my guy stuff videos, you know how to start the charcoal. Always use a chimney. I put in a full stack, and now it's starting to gray on the top, so it's ready to pour in. You always want to start with a fully hot stack. So let's go ahead and put it in. And it's going all up against one side. So we're going to do this indirect, low and slow. Move any stragglers off from the center. We don't want anything directly under the chicken. Woo! That is hot! Alright, there we go. So now we're ready for a cooking grate. And again, if you're new, I highly recommend you get the optional cooking grate from Weber with the little flaps. What this allows you to do is open either side so you can add charcoal or add smoking wood. And what we're going to be doing is using pecan wood today. I think I grabbed pecan, or did I get peach? No, I got pecan. What wood you use, completely up to you. I happen to love the flavor and aroma of the pecan wood lately, so that's what I've been using. But if you like hickory, mesquite, apple wood, whatever, try everything. You can get big chunks, you can get these little chips. We're going to be adding it probably twice. We're only going to be doing these chickens for about 2 hours at the most. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them out now and put them all opposite the coals as much as I can. Like I said, this is big enough where I can fit one of those bags and do it okay. After about 30 minutes, we're going to shift them, rearrange them just so they cook a little bit more even, and maybe add a little bit of wood. Now, when you're smoking chicken, I'm really used to my grill, so I've got my timings down. If you're not, I highly suggest you just get one of those little instant read meat thermometers. You can find them anywhere. Walmart has them for $10. I think it's a Weber brand even. Really cheap. No reason not to use one. If you're grilling chicken, if you're just cooking it normally, if you want to hit about 165, but if you're doing it low and slow, smoking it, you want to hit about 185. So we're going to be looking for about 185. Should be right about 2 hours. I'm going to keep my temps here between 2.25 and 250 maximum. And that'll give us nice smoke and a really savory flavor. So now I'm going to go ahead and get the chicken and we'll get that set on. We're going to start these with the skin side down. And just fit them on as best you can away from the coals. There we go. Now we need to add our wood. And I should have soaked these chips in water. It doesn't make that big of a difference, but I just completely forgot about it. I'm used to buying the bigger chunks, and you don't have to soak those. So all we have to do with these cool grates is just lift it up, put on a few handfuls of the wood. Should have enough coals in here to take us through the whole thing. It's going to be close. I took a little bit longer with the prep, so they started in the chimney a little bit longer than I wanted to. So they've shrunk a bit. Alright, so now we put our lid on. And that stops the wood from actually burning. And I'm setting my vents, which are a little stuck, to about 1/3 open. That's going to give me about 2 1/4 in this grill. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to check it in about a half an hour, which should be ready for a little bit more wood. We'll see how the smoke's doing, and go from there. Half an hour in, let's take a gander here. Looks pretty good. Definitely use some more wood chips. A nice little bit of browning and some juices coming off the chicken. Squish these coals down a little bit, get some better surface area for the wood. There we go. Alright, there we go. Put the lid back on. In about another half an hour I'm going to come back and we'll flip the chicken. 1 hour in, 1 to go. Let's take a look. Oh yeah. It smells really good. Now what we're going to do is simply flip the chicken. See, we got a nice smoke color going on the tops here. There we go. And I'm going to add a little bit more wood. Got just enough charcoal to finish up with this batch. So that worked out. I think this will be the last batch of wood I put on. We'll just let it finish off the last half hour. An hour to go. So this will be enough wood here for another half hour of good smoke. Put the lid back on. And we're just going to let that go. We'll come back in another hour, so it'll be 2 hours total. Check our temps. Should be ready to bring in, and we can start the soup. Alright, chicken is ready. Just checked our temp. We are good, so now I'm going to transfer it into a pan here. Take it inside. We're just going to let it cool while we make our soup stock. Oh, that looks beautiful. Now remember, we're taking off the fat and the skin, so we're just after the healthy meat. Looks nice. It's pulled back off the bone, just like doing good barbecue ribs. It smells delicious. It's kind of hard to pick up. It gets real tender when you do this low, slow smoking. So much better than just grilling or baking. Alright, there we go. Let's go inside and start the soup. Alright, now it's time to start the soup stock. First I'm going to shred the chicken. I've had it cooling down a bit. All we need is a fork and a big bowl to put the chicken in. And we're going to pull it just like we do pork. For this, I'm just going to peel away the skin. Real easy to do. And it's okay if most of those spices come off with the skin, because there's going to be plenty in it. And we're just going to take our fork and peel off chunks. You can see it's absolutely moist and tender. And just put those chunks in the bowl. We're going to go right into the soup with those. So I'm going to do the rest of this in the bowl and get this shredded, and then we'll start the stock. Alright, got the chicken all shredded. You can see nice. This is about the biggest I go. Just real good chunky bite-sized bits. That's how I like mine. If you like yours smaller, feel free to tear them up as small as you like. Now we're going to start putting our pan on high. We're going to put in a little bit of vegetable oil, and we're going to saute our veggies up. It's okay if you use high, as long as you're constantly stirring. It's only going to take about 10 minutes, and only that long because I do have a lot of veggies here. Not looking for them to be fully cooked. We just want our onions to cook down, our celery to cook down, and our carrots to start to get warm. And the mushrooms, I'll just kind of do their own thing. I don't really care if they're even more fresh raw in my soup, but they are what they are. Okay, what am I missing? Nothing. Alright, in go the veggies. This is Chloe's chicken. You want some chicken, Chloe? You good girl. There you go. Chloe is a chicken piggy. Now we need our mushrooms. I'm fighting the urge to put in garlic, but I don't want to turn this into a garlic dish. I want the natural smokiness in the chicken and those spices to come out. So I'm going to get this going. We'll get this sauteed up, veggies starting to cook down, and then we'll start the rest of the stock. About halfway there, you can see the veggies have gone way down. Carrots are just starting to get a little tender. They'll get fully tender as they get boiled and simmer with the rest of the soup. But all the extra water is coming out here. You can see at the bottom. We want this to reduce down some more. So I'm going to get another 10 minutes or so and get these fully sauteed. Now that we're reduced down nicely, we can put in our chicken broth, our fat-free reduced sodium chicken broth, which again, I just cannot taste the difference between the low sodium and the regular. When I cook with enough of the broth or the stock, as opposed to water, I'm finding I hardly have to put in any salt whatsoever. I'm going to be putting in just a teaspoon for this whole 2 gallons worth of soup, and it comes out perfect. I don't have to put any in. I don't even have the need to put any in the bowl. I think most people will agree, because I'm a salt guy. So most people are going to want even less than me. Feel free to taste test it near the end and fine tune it, but I don't think you're going to need any more than what I'm going to show you. So what we have to do is bring this up to a boil. I'm going to go ahead and put in the salt and pepper and dill at this point. Just got 1 tablespoon of fresh ground pepper and 1 teaspoon of sea salt. So that's going to go in. And I'm putting in 1 whole small container of dill weed. Completely optional, but it really gives a beautiful flavor. I know it's a lot of dill, but that's what this recipe is about. And it's really not that much if you think about it. It's going in 2 gallons worth of soup. So this needs to come up to a boil. Then we're going to cook our noodles. Those are going to be in for just 7 minutes. And then we're going to turn it down to low, put in our chicken, and it's just going to sit here and simmer for 15 minutes. Let all the flavors come together, let the spices that are on the chicken get into the soup, and it'll be ready. Alright, we're boiling at a good clip here. I've got 2 packages of these egg-free ribbon noodles. So we're going to put them in. I always go on the low side because we're going to be simmering afterwards. So these are going to go in for 7 minutes at a boil, uncovered, and then the heat's going to come down to low. Noodles are done. I'm just going to kick the heat off. Now we're just going to put in the chicken. I'm going to let it sit here. There's enough residual heat in this big pot to do what we need to do without even having it on low or simmer. If you're doing a small pot, kick it down to lowest setting. Now, mix this in and just let it set for 15 minutes. Let all the flavors start to come together. You're going to get the smokiness and the Italian spices off the rub, mixing in with the rest of the soup. We got the dill, and of course all the fresh veggie flavors mixing with the chicken. As you can see, I like my soup chunky. Now if you like it more on the thin side, all you have to do, if you're doing this exact batch, just add a 5th container of the broth. And that'll be perfect for just a nice thinner soup. But I love mine. Lots of big stuff in it. I like hearty, stick to your bones kind of meals. And that's exactly what this will be. Alright, so there we go. Let's see, it's 9:30 now, so 9:45 I will be done and ready to have a bowl of this for dinner. I know it's late, but I've been cooking. Alright, it is time to eat. Whole house smells so good. Beautiful flavors in here. All the veggies, the dill, the noodles, gorgeous smoked chicken. Alright, let's get a nice bowl full here. Gotta get some mushrooms. Oh yeah, there we go. Alright, get some broth going on. Perfect. Time for a quick taste test. Just gonna do it right from the pot. Get some chicken in here, a little noodle going on, get some mushroom. Come here, noodle. There we go. Absolutely perfect. Doesn't need a thing. Rich flavor coming out of that. Perfect texture. Perfect amount of salt. You taste the dill. Chicken has a beautiful smokiness, obviously. Oh yeah. Alright, well I am happy. That is going to serve me very well over the next week. So there you go. This is definitely a combination of the healthy recipe, because it is really healthy. Got the low carbohydrate noodles in here, extremely low sodium, didn't use any sugar on the rub, so hey, it's really healthy for you. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.